So unfortunately, Microsoft released 9,000 of their employees, and a decent amount of them came from Xbox different studios. And I wanted to watch a video where Mr. Money Plays talks about it because I know for a fact he has a lot of time on the Xbox side of things. So I want to hear his thoughts about it and slowly go through mine as well. Because man, oh man, it's a lot, a lot to go through. But yeah, let's start it.
I don't think anger is the right word to describe today now that the news is broken. And
Pretty much.
frankly, this is like an ongoing story. It seems like there's potentially more cancellations and studio closures we'll learn about in the coming days. But anger really isn't the right word, maybe because it was so expected and there were so many warning shots fired off. I think the right term for me is just immense disappointment. The leadership core at Xbox has absolutely failed these teams, not because we're talking about canceled projects and what could have been. In some instances, these projects that were shut down because they've been in development for so long do make sense. But it's the reality that the leadership core did not recognize these issues were building up over time. They probably should have shut these projects down earlier to get something else out the door quicker. But instead, we're left with the bloodbath that's happening at Xbox today. We have a note from Phil Spencer to go over, a ton of projects that have been canceled, and a studio shut down. It's a really...
the fact that Everwild was in development for so long, right? This is a game that Rare has been making for so long. And everybody who knew about it knew that it was in development hell. To some extent. Like, that game, we didn't really know what it was, and we had no clear release date. And I think even last year, Phil Spencer said that it was in good development. No, I think it was earlier this year where he said it was in good development, and then poof, the game got shut down. It's over with. I don't know. It's crazy.
Sad day for Xbox, but I think potentially what makes me more sad is seeing people continue to treat these gaming companies like sports teams. It's totally fine to love Xbox, right? Like, I adore Xbox. I grew up with it. It was like my first real console when I think about it. I did have an N64, but I remember going out to Best Buy with my dad and buying it, and it came with NFL Fever. It came with Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. Like, I have strong Xbox memories right down to the core of my childhood. I was always an Xbox guy growing up.
And the same for me. Like, I was a PlayStation dude here in from the get-go. Like, PS1, Resident Evil, the Tekkens, the Ratchet and Clanks, the Jack and Dexter. Like, I was hardcore PlayStation, right? But then I grew the fuck up. I grew the fuck up and realized, this console war BS, this fight for the publisher, they don't care about you. They only care about your dollar. And if you ain't giving them enough dollars, they're going to screw you over no matter what. So eventually I was like, I'm going to play whatever I want to play and experience more games and more games and more games. Like, when you get stuck into this one route of just, I need to play only on my system, only on my platform forever, and I'm going to support them through thick and thin like they're your girlfriend, you're bugging the fuck out. You're bugging the fuck out.
There is a way to separate the two and to stop cheering, especially for this brand, like a sports team and jabbing back and forth in this console war bullshit. It's awful, man. And look what it's led us to. Because we continue to hear, as we're reading this note, we're doing great, but we're laying you off.
Crazy.
Ridiculous. So let's read this tone-deaf letter from Phil Spencer.
I didn't get to read this. I want to see it.
Today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization to position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas. We will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notifications and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days. So like I said, still an ongoing story. And the other thing worth noting here is they're clearly trying to obfuscate the information as best they can, because I think this is much worse than we already know. That is my read of the situation. And there's
like the fact that they spread it out to different teams to tell them, we'll tell the teams what they should tell y'all. Is like, it's a thing that happens in these businesses. But the fact that it could be even more than what we already think it is nuts. It's nuts. It's just nuts. And 4% of all Microsoft employees were just fired. Like, think about that. 9,000 people were 4% of Microsoft. Good God, and that's like 4 companies. Like imagine like 4 companies just laid off. Like oh my God, like 9,000 people. Oh,
There's a reason why it's being staggered out and it's not one fell swoop. There's a reason why they're trying to spread this out, because I think it's a lot more than we understand. Continuing on, I recognize that these changes come at a time where we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. No note on sales, by the way. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap has never looked stronger. The success we're currently seeing is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. We will protect what is thriving and concentrate effort on areas with the greatest potential while delivering on the expectations the company has for our business.
This is gross.
This focused approach means we can deliver exceptional games and experiences for players for generations to come. Prioritizing our opportunities is essential, but that does not lessen the significance of this moment. Simply put, we would not be where we are today without the time, energy, and creativity of those whose roles are impacted.
Stop telling me about the creativity.
Are not a reflection of the talent, creativity, and dedication of the people involved. Our momentum is not accidental. It is the result of years of dedicated effort from our teams.
One day I want a letter like this to just say, yo, we fucked up. Instead of all this corpo mumbo jumbo, we believe in the players, power to the players, GameStop bullshit. No, just say you fucked up. Our management skills were terrible. We brought in all these people and we couldn't manage it properly. There was a lot of quote unquote redundancies, and we had to let them go because we don't know how to manage a business properly. Just say it. Just say it, but you'll never say that because your stock will plummet. But just say that. But the thing is, their stocks are up because of AI. But let's not talk about that.
HR is working directly with impacted employees to provide severance plan benefits, including pay, health care coverage, and job placement resources to support their transition. Employees whose roles were eliminated are encouraged to explore open positions across Microsoft Gaming where their applications will be given priority review.
Priority review. Fuck you. Yo. They just said, "Hey, submit an application again to get hired somewhere else in our company, and we'll look at your application again. We'll put it on top of the pile." Fuck you! You just fired me. Nah.
This is exactly from the second paragraph down, the Microsoft experience. There's a reason why they're a $3 trillion company. They make a lot of money, and then they make cuts, and they make even more money to give themselves an even bigger earn. That is how they operate. So literally the blatant admission of, we're laying you off, but you can come back probably under a contract, so we have to pay things like benefits to you, and we're going to save more money and get the same talent. This is how Microsoft has operated. Now,
yo, the fact that, okay, Nintendo is not exactly who they used to be. They're still probably like, you know, the more friendlier version of these like gaming companies, with at least the AAA ones. But I say that, but they still doing. Anyway, back in the day when like they were doing terribly and their CEOs like taking pay cuts and making sure everybody was good. They weren't trying to release nobody. They were just trying to fight through it. That's the type of shit we should be seeing more often. But the fact that we don't is crazy. Like this is an art thing. It's a business first. First of all, it's a business. I get it. It's a business. But it's also art. We're creating art, entertainment, all that stuff in one. So the fact that we don't give people time to be even creative, or when they do succeed, like a Tango Games, and they put out a quality hit, like Hi-Fi Rush, and then you get shut down, nuts. When the initiative shows off a game like Perfect Dark, right? People like it. I liked it. I'm not even a big Perfect Dark fan. I think the Perfect Dark on 3360 was not that great, but I'm excited. I want more espionage games like that. They don't even get a chance to even succeed. They don't even get a chance. They just get shut down. Like Rare has been trying their best to put out another game besides Sea of Thieves for a long fucking time. Like, and Rare doesn't even. Let me stop. I'm going too fast. He probably don't get there too, but you know, man.
The hope was after what happened with Halo Infinite, they would have learned to not do this because it doesn't work well in video game development. But nonetheless,
and I'll keep pausing. But Halo Studios with what they call now Halo Studios 343 Studios. I'm stuttering because I'm upset. Forgive me. But 343 Studios got so many fucking chances, and because it's Halo, they get to keep getting more chances. Like They have failed so many times, and they don't get shut down. They don't get revamped constantly. Like, well, no, why? Because somebody got to make Halo. Like, I don't get it. The studios that do keep failing, like, why aren't they getting like extreme layoffs? Like I forgot what they call Take 10, the Forza Motorsport dudes. They put out bangers for y'all, and they lost 50% of their staff. Nuts.
Here we are. Again, to me, incredibly tone deaf. Gets worse, though. Bloomberg reports Microsoft makes deep job cuts across Xbox division, cancels games. Subsidiaries across the gaming organization were told that they would be affected by layoffs. Microsoft's Stockholm-based King division, which makes Candy Crush, is cutting 10% of its staff, or about 200 jobs.
I mean, it's Candy. I'm stop. I'm about to make a joke, but it's not funny. It sucks. It just really sucks. Like,
according to people familiar with the plans, other European offices, such as ZeniMax, also began cutting employees early Wednesday, said the people who asked not to be identified because they were not authorized to speak to the press.
Obviously.
News of further job cuts trickled out slowly as other units of Microsoft Gaming, such as Call of Duty maker Raven Software, also announced workforce reductions.
When Call of Duty is on a constant rotation, they get hit. And all they do is help you make Call of Duty games. They get hit? Nuts.
We'll talk about ZeniMax in just a moment here. Candy Crush is crazy because what's interesting about these layoffs is seeing Xbox target big money makers. Call of Duty, King with Candy Crush. This is one of the big reasons they bought ABK, was the money they get from both of these.
Right.
And they're laying off staff attached to these. And my heart goes out really to Raven Software. Such an unjust amount of layoffs, because they are, to me, the heartbeat of what makes Call of Duty exciting, at least for fans like me, because they've done the last two campaigns. They did Cold War, they did Black Ops 6, and I think they're both excellent. If you look at the history of Raven Software, I don't think they've ever made a whack game. So I just was hoping when...
Like, Raven Software has always made a fun game. It might not have been the best game, might not have been the best review game, like 70s, low 80s, but they've always made a fun fucking game. And Call of Duty campaigns show it. Like, the Call of Duty campaigns are fun. And it's just, Microsoft doesn't care about that, apparently. They never did.
Xbox bought them up, that this would be a company freed from the shackles of Call of Duty.
And this is not I keep pausing, but this is not the shit on Microsoft for, like, what they're doing well. But this is not the time to talk about what they're doing well. Like, they doing a lot well when it comes to, like, putting out decent games, right? When they do put them out, they put out decent games. Game Pass is a great service with issues, but a great service. So, like, let's not talk about that. We're not talking about that. This is about what's happening now, and it's fucked up that human lives are just, like, being affected because they can't manage a business properly, or they want more profits, so therefore people got to get hurt. Nuts.
Instead, they've been tied closer to it and laid off, like forever cementing their status as a Call of Duty support studio. Again, just really messed up when you look at the whole spectrum of games they've made, Singularity being excellent here. The company also canceled several projects that had been in development for years, including the fantasy game Everwild, in development at UK-based Rare Studio, and an original new online game from ZeniMax Online Studios, the makers of Elder Scrolls Online. Both of these studios will cut jobs as a result of the cancellations, according to people. And if you want to know just how prepared they were for these layoffs, Jason Schreier reports on his own Blue Sky account, as one illustration of just how sloppy and chaotic today's mass Xbox layoffs have been. Some employees at ZeniMax Online Studios are now watching their Slack accounts abruptly get locked out. No message from HR, no word on whether they still have a job, just an ominous Slack deactivation.
Disgusting. Like, disgusting. There's no other word to say but fucking gross. Like, I just can't imagine. I'm sitting at my desk at work, and then I try to log in, and they just be like, nah, not today, pal. You're cooked. Like, give me forewarning. We got to give you warning when we want to quit. We don't have to, but we give you the common courtesy to let you know when we want to quit. You can't do that to us. It's not in contracts. It's not like, what's these contracts? Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know.
So yeah, very classy there. All right, so ZeniMax Online Studios, new
common
IP,
courtesy.
and Everwild
This
at
common
Rare.
courtesy.
Let's start off with ZeniMax Online Studios. This one sucks, man. I I mean, you've heard me in the videos. I was cheering for this team so hard. I did a retrospective recently on ZeniMax Online Studios with Elder Scrolls Online and just talked about how much I love that game and how impressive I think it is to have
this game has survived through the test of
take
time.
that Elder Scrolls IP and make something that feels really worthy of that name, especially when it's such a dramatic shakeup. You know, I look at Fallout 76 to the rest of the Fallout franchise and then ESO versus the rest of the Elder Scrolls franchise. And I think the way it just blends in perfectly, mostly thanks to its world, but also the hard work that team put in. They earned their right to go and do something on their own. Now, we don't know what the status of the project was. We don't know if they were really in development hell, but they kept hiring up for this game. It was like 400 plus people working on it for 5+ years.
400?
And so it could have been one of those projects.
Yo, 400 people for 5 years? And it didn't even see the light of day. How much money did that game burn? Because it's going to be a live service MMO, right? How much money did that game burn? And you just... Holy shit, Microsoft. What is going on?
That we'll talk about with the initiative in Perfect Dark, where it's spinning its wheels for a while and it's still years out and the investment might not be worth it. But as a fan of ZeniMax Online Studios, my heart goes out to them.
Absolutely.
This was one of the games that I could not wait to learn more about because I think they learned so much with Elder Scrolls Online, and I don't think it's the worst fate to be just tied to Elder Scrolls Online, but it's really cementing them as only doing that.
It might be, and that's the fucked up part about it. It might be. Like a lot of people who get stuck in just being like kind of like a Raven right now, when you get tired to being the Call of Duty guy or the Elder Scrolls guy, or like it sucks because nobody wants you to do anything else. They look at you and be like, eh. But this makes the most money now, so you should stick to that. Like, but I want to be creative. Like, I want to do more creative things. No, you keep making that Call of Duty, pal. Get back in that sweatshop now. Get back in that sweatshop. Don't be too creative now. We on a time schedule. Like, oh man.
And I just wanted to see them break free. What could they do on their own? To know that that's no longer going to be the case. To know that ZeniMax Online Studios is just forever the ESO developer. They rolled in teams that they shut down from Bethesda like Alpha Dog and Roundhouse into ZeniMax Online, likely to help accelerate what was happening with this new IP. The amount of investment and resources gone into it, just a real story of what could have been. And I hope we do get a scoop on this because I'm so curious what exactly it was, but what led to its cancellation, because it is the one admittedly we're most in the dark about. We never got an official announcement. And I know a lot of people justify these things like game cancellations happen all the time, but this bad boy leaked years ago. And I thought any day now we'd get a reveal for it. You saw my Xbox Showcase predictions videos. Like I called it, I think 2 or 3 years in a row. Certainly this has to be the year. I guess now it makes a lot more sense since it was on the brink of cancellation, but how just was it? This is a trend since Xbox bought ABK, going back to Odyssey, the Blizzard survival game, where if you're a game that's been in development for 6+ years, you're getting the axe. Absolutely. That gets into Everwild. Everwild was announced in 2019. Definitely one of the biggest Xbox mysteries, but also a game that people were cautiously and understandably excited for. Rare has something with Sea of Thieves, but Rare is not known for games like Sea of Thieves. But now, just kind of like with ESO and ZeniMax Online Studios, it looks like Rare's identity is going to exclusively be for a long while Sea of Thieves.
And that sucks because for a long period of time, at least before they even got to Xbox, before Microsoft acquired them, which is kind of gross, they made so many different creative games, so many different unique games. Like, I'm just thinking, like, during their time when they were making games for Nintendo, at least 4 IPs that I fucked with, they made. At least 3, probably 3. Like, Banjo-Kazooie, they did GoldenEye, and they did Donkey Kong. Crazy. Bangers. They did Diddy Kong Racing. They had spin-offs, like so many good games. And now they just stuck to being the Sea of Thieves team. Hey, we're still Rare. We still make good games that's for like unique. And then, they don't let them do anything else. And I swear to God, if they ever touch Double Fine, look, it would be a crash out of a mess. I don't even know how to say this. Like, I will crash the fuck out. Double Fine makes excellent games, excellent unique experiences that nobody else can make. And you bought them because they do that. Don't you fucking dare.
what we're getting into and why these layoffs and studio closures and game cancellations are so unfortunate to me is not just because of what could have been, but also the message it sends. It sends the message that this is like a stagnant company. This is the status quo moving forward. You get your Sea of Thieves from Rare, and that's it. You get your Elder Scrolls Online from ZeniMax Online Studios, and that is it. And
they're kind of backtracking again because for the last generation, for the Xbox One generation, they were a stagnant company. They were the Halo, Gears, and Forza. They were the trio. You're gonna get these every couple of years. That's all you're gonna get. Eat it up. Eat it up. Like that's what they were. And to see them kind of like taking a couple steps back to like show that, hey, we're gonna keep doing that, it's kind of crazy. You bought all these studios just so you don't have to do that, and then you're canceling new games to continue doing that. I don't know. I don't know about that.
There is not that excitement anymore of, oh, Xbox and Microsoft with all this money and buying these teams that have so much potential. What could they make out of it? They're taking the safe choice every step of the way to create this, quote, sustainable business, which is hilarious given the profits that they've seen, not just in Xbox, but Microsoft as a whole, that this is how they're trying to make things sustainable by taking less risks, and I don't think that makes gaming better. But Everwild does fall in that category of unsurprising, but this also goes
I have
to
no
how
clue
I
what
opened
this
the
game
video.
would have been.
This is where I think leadership
nice
failed
hair though.
Everwild and Rare. It's clear from the outside looking in, this wasn't working out. You don't reveal a game in 2019 and disappear until now, and things are going well. Things are exciting. We're making a ton of progress. That is just not how it goes. It is up to the leadership team to identify this issue and be like, we need to figure something else out now, start from scratch or retool, repivot, whatever it may be. That is my read of the situation, is how leadership has failed a lot of these teams to readjust them or reorient them. And there's another great example of that in Turn 10. Jason Schreier posts on Blue Sky, many of Xbox's subsidiaries are getting hit by layoffs this morning, including Call of Duty studios such as Raven. Big cuts at Forza Motorsport developer Turn 10, nearly half 50% of the staff per a source. Half of Turn 10. You realize how unbelievable that is? Forza Motorsport has been, while it's not like the sexiest game, or it's certainly not a game I play much or talk about, has been part of the Xbox identity since like its very beginning. And the idea that Turn 10 has been reduced so much that it just might, we don't know for sure, but it just might be like a support team.
Like Turn 10 made so good, I'm speaking broken English, they made crazy good simulation games that people were looking at Gran Turismo like, I don't know if you're the king. Like at this point in time, Forza Motorsport might be the king. That's how good their games were. In a market where Gran Turismo was king, they came in and took a lot of market share and then produced quality games. Like their games were getting 90s. They were getting 90s. Like over the years, every release. And I'm pretty sure they got another one in development right now. And they just lost half of their freaking team, bro. Nuts.
It might support, say, something like Forza Horizon 6. It's what I talked about in our video last week when the layoffs first started to leak. I said I feel like Turn 10 is going to be an easy target simply because when you look at what Horizon is versus the last Motorsport, it's sad to say, but I think Horizon's lapped Motorsport. So you get it. But at the same time, what's so frustrating is this is a hits-only business, and I don't think that is sustainable.
Horizon appeals more to the casuals.
By that, I mean, you look at Turn 10. They've consistently, look at their Metacritic
look at this,
score. Ryan
look
McCaffrey
at this.
Had a great post on his Twitter account. They've never made a bad reviewed game. But Forza Motorsport, the last one in 2023, did not really light the world on fire in the terms of player count, in the terms of sales. And despite all that heritage and all they've contributed to the Xbox business, it took one miss for them to just get half their staff removed. In a sense, I get it because Forza Horizon's a thing, and it seems like we're getting Forza Horizon 6 next year. But man, it sends a really bad message if key studios like Turn 10 are getting half their staff removed, likely reduced to a support role. Then I look at other companies like Compulsion, which we haven't heard anything about, or Ninja Theory, which we haven't heard anything.
Compulsion. I know that game didn't do well enough, and I loved it. And I know it didn't do well enough, which is... it got too much fucking hate because people were calling it woke. I'm gonna misremember the name of the game, but I know what I'm talking about, with the pretty black girl, with the voodoo stuff, with the southern storyline, with the great emotional connection to these people. Um, yeah, like that game, I know didn't do as well as they probably wanted to do, but it was also a smaller game, so maybe it did. I hope it did, but like I don't know, man. But if they get hit, I wouldn't be surprised, because that's the type of studio that get hit by Microsoft. The studios that are the most creative, that do, you know, unique things, that take risks, and then they get shut down completely. The ones that could continue to Call of Duty, they lose some people, but they still get to keep going, like Halo, like the Call of Duty, the Raven, like they get to keep going. But everybody else who tried to take risks for them, nah. Yeah, South of Midnight. They did We Happy Few before that. Contrast, which I love too. Like they make unique games, and we don't really get that many of them because people don't buy them. First of all, like Xbox games, like let's be honest, if you have an Xbox platform, they don't really buy games anymore. They're using Game Pass, which is what they want them to do. So the lower SKU, why would people, one, like keep putting their games over there, but two, like if they're not buying them, what's the fucking point of any of this? Like, what's the point of any of this? I wanna know how much money they're making consistently from Game Pass to keep up the uptake of all these games coming out over there, because it's really frustrating to see these studios get shut down, and they want you to buy their games, but they don't give you the opportunity to buy their games because they're only on Game Pass, so it's easy to get them that way. Now that they're everywhere else, PC, PlayStation, like maybe it's a better thing now because they're everywhere and like they make more money. Like I know Forza sold a fuck ton on PlayStation, but like but
about games that were more prestige pieces, smaller games, and had really bad player counts. What happens to them? Even if it's not now, this year, what happens next year, the year after?
Yep.
That is the message that is being sent here.
Yep.
And speaking of messages sent, let's go over to Windows Central, where they write, Microsoft is closing down Xbox Studio, the initiative, with Perfect Dark killed as well, joining Everwild and ZeniMax's new IP and other unannounced projects. Quote, following Phil's note, by the way, this comes from Matt Booty, I want to share more about the changes to the studio's business
more corporal
units.
speech.
We've made the decision to stop development of Perfect Dark and Everwild, as well as wind down several unannounced projects across our portfolio. As part of this, we are closing one of our studios, The Initiative. These decisions, along with other changes across our teams, reflect a broader effort to adjust priorities and focus resources to set up our teams for greater success within a changing industry landscape. We did not make these choices lightly, as each project and team represents years of effort and imagination and commitment. Our overall portfolio strategy is unchanged. Build games that excite our players, continue to grow our biggest franchises, and create new stories, worlds, and characters. We have more than 40 projects in active development, continued momentum on titles shipping this fall, and a strong slate headed into 2026. For those directly affected, speak with HR, yada, yada, yada. To everyone across our studios, thank you. Your creativity and resilience continue to define who we are. I believe in the strength of our teams and the direction we are taking on the path ahead.
If you work at Microsoft, do y'all read these letters every time they come out and just be like, yeah, they're right? I believe what they're saying. I would be sick. I'd just like send that email to the trash. Like immediately. Like, oh, Matt Booty sent me something. Trash. Phil Spencer sent me something about this. Trash. Like you even gotta read it to know what's in there. And that's the fucked up part about it. Nothing about these letters feel like heartfelt or actually real. They feel just like we gotta say this to try to keep up morale somehow. But corporal speech.
Yes, quite the path. 4 rounds of massive layoffs in 18 months. And I actually put out a tweet. So let's go down the receipts here and have a little fun at just how great this leadership core has been since they bought ABK and finalized that deal. You have The Initiative that closed down. Perfect Dark got canceled. Everwild got canceled. ZeniMax Online Studios' new IP got canceled. 50% of Turn 10 is gone. 10% of King is gone. There were layoffs.
I forgot about Arcane Austin.
Arcane Austin closed down. Tango was nearly lost forever. Fortunately, Krafton saved them. Alpha Dog Games closed down. Roundhouse closed down. And Blizzard's Odyssey canceled. And to add on top of that, Sea of Thieves, and Banjo-Kazooie director leaving Rare after 35 years
35
following the
years.
Everwild cancellation, according to sources at Video Games Chronicle.
I would too. And there's no way you're gonna cancel the game that I'm creating with such love and care and expect me to still be there. Like, I'm pretty sure somebody else would want me. I've done pretty well for this company. I no. You want me to go back to just being failed? No.
ZeniMax Online Studios president Matt Firor is leaving the company,
he
according to
leaving too.
Insider Gaming. So not only is Xbox bleeding games, bleeding studios, they're bleeding talent. More importantly, the talent that made these companies worth buying to them in the first place.
Are leaving.
And that is the story that will haunt Xbox for years to come. It is not just about the canceled games today. Don't think now in the near term. This is about long-term talent loss that made these companies who they are going away. And in turn,
They bought these people for their talent. Crazy. They bought these people for their talent and then got rid of them. Like, why did you buy these IPs and these people if you're just going to get rid of them? What did you want from them? I know you didn't expect an instant turn of money because that's not how this shit works. Like,
turn, they will be shells of themselves. That is with no disrespect to the people who do work at these teams still. It's just saying that, hey, when you have someone who's there for 35 years, that's a really important member of the team you probably want to keep. Again, this gets back to what I'm saying earlier. You'll notice a trend there of a lot of these games that were shut down or studios that ended up being closed were attached to games that had been in development for a long while. But you got to bring a pair of scissors to some of these games and hit the reset button. I think a great example of that is how Sony and PlayStation have completely mismanaged Ben's studio.
Absolutely.
And how Ben has spun their wheels for so long since Days Gone. And all they had to do was make a Days Gone sequel. But they haven't gotten that opportunity. They had to make like a God of War live service game. And then all the stuff that they made before ended up being canceled.
Ben Studios were fucked over by PlayStation a lot. I think Japan Studio, their first party studio that made The Last Guardian, Ico, they shut them down. Like, PlayStation is no better. Believe me, PlayStation is no better. But they have less teams and they have a little bit better focus. And that's the only thing that I can say. But they do the same shit over there too. They're no different either. And it's gross. It's gross.
So it's just greatly frustrating. So Perfect Dark, this is really disappointing because it just feels like the immersive sim genre is dead. And I thought the slice we saw of Perfect Dark looks really good. I remember my reaction immediately being, okay, let them cook. This looks really good. And there was part of me that did watch that gameplay a bit with an eyebrow raised of, is this real? And I think this cancellation and shutdown confirmed something to me.
I think it was about 75% real.
But it seems to me like that was just a really nice, polished vertical slice. Yep. Everything surrounding it was not good to go, and this project probably needed more than another 2 to 3 years to get out the door. And why this is all happening is in a hits-only business, or when your management lets you spin your wheels for so long and your budget gets higher and higher and higher, this is not rocket science to any of us on the outside. Yeah, you're going to end up having budgets that are sky high, and that puts pressure on the product to perform sometimes in very unrealistic ways. Like, I think Perfect Dark had a ton of potential, looked great. I think it would have spoken to the immersive sim fans out there, provided it delivered on what we saw on that vertical slice. But how would it have done long term, right? We have the initiative that starts from scratch, is like an all-star team of talent. That whole squad pretty much leaves, and then they start replacing that team. I think over half that team left. And I remember covering and being very like, what's going on here is not okay. Remember the Xbox fans out there like breathing down my neck and borderline harassing me over it. I backed off. I went, okay, let's see how it goes. They bring in Crystal Dynamics because the head of that studio at the initiative originally worked at Crystal Dynamics. So I went, all right, this makes sense. This should help the project. We see a little bit of an update at the showcase. I go, all right, looks like it's on the right track. And then we see this. Clearly it wasn't ready to show. Why do that to yourselves? But also,
why?
I think if you invest in a team, building it from the ground up, and most of that team leaves before you have anything to show for it, I do respect the idea of holding on, trying to make it work. But there is the idea.
Cancel that fucking game. Hell no. If half of the people leave that's making your game, there is no game. I'm sorry. Especially the creative people leave, there is no game. Cancel it. Stop holding on to the remnants of some bullshit. Cancel it. you're just burning money at that point. You're not gonna get a successful project like that. You're not. Like, you're not gonna get some Bioware magic. No, nigga, stop. Cancel it.
Of the sunk cost fallacy that many of us are familiar with. It's just not worth continuously investing in something that isn't working. It's time to pivot. But instead, we keep trying to brute force Perfect Dark and trying to make it work. And here we are now with no game to show for it. Oh my God, thousands of dollars wasted. And of course, worst of all, a ton of people with nothing to show for it, no jobs, and a lot of wasted time. It's frustrating. And as I've said before, with these mass layoffs, how do you expect people to want to get into game development, especially when you don't see accountability at top, whether it be Xbox or Bungie, and the list goes on. When these layoffs happen, you see who's making the statements. It's pathetic. There's literally no accountability. And the people who make these experiences worth having, the people who make the Xbox brand what it is, are the ones who always take the fall. I think
because we see the same names giving these apologies. The same names giving these apologies. Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond. I forgot the head of Microsoft, but him too. We see the same names giving apologies, saying we're still here for the gamers, for the players. But they don't never get no issues. They don't never get no fucking like threats to their fucking job that we know of. Of course they do, but they're still here. Like all these years, all these fucking failures, they're still here. Phil Spencer went through the worst generation of gaming for Xbox. The worst generation of gaming for Xbox. And he's still here. Like, his pivot game was crazy when he went to Game Pass and hardcore on Game Pass, but he had one of the worst generations of gaming. Don't forget that. And he's still here. So why can't they get second chances? Who knows?
Saddest part about these layoffs, as I've said numerous times, but I'll say it one final time, is how avoidable some of this could have been with proper leadership and oversight and actually understanding just how shit of a spot these projects were in. Because I think as fans, we know no updates and no news doesn't spell anything good. And when, say, for example, Everwild, the game announced in 2019, has no updates for over half a decade, that usually spells disaster. Probably if you've gone 2 or 3 years and nothing's really happened, that spells disaster. But will things change? No, clearly not. That's the sad part. Clearly not. And that sends a message unto itself. And I don't know how you start to build new gaming talent outside of people who are ridiculously passionate
and have them trust you
when this is kind of the fate they're subjecting themselves to.
They're not going to trust them.
Just operating gaming as a hits only business is stupid, and project management needs to be better. That's all I got for you. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.
W video. Like, it's crazy how this keeps happening. The same cycle of gaming keeps happening. So after I just got done reacting to his first video about Xbox, he has released a second one called The Xbox Drama Is Getting Worse. It's getting even worse than it already is? Let's find out.
All right, we're back with more Xbox news. And as expected this week, none of it's great because we knew yesterday it was still an ongoing story. And we have, unfortunately, more cancellations, more layoffs, and a story about Halo get into today. As we're recording this, there's also an ongoing story with ZeniMax Online Studios and what exactly the project they were working on is. I'm giving that story a little more time to cook, and I have additional thoughts on where Bethesda is at as a whole moving forward after Microsoft has practically gutted their key talent. So look forward to those videos within the next week or so. But for now, let's turn our attention to more game cancellations and more layoffs in the world of Xbox. Let's start off with a post from Romero Games, who writes, "We have some difficult news to share. Last night, we learned that our publisher has canceled funding for our game, along with several other unannounced projects at other studios. This was a strategic decision made at a high level within the publisher, well above our visibility or control. We deeply wish there had been anything we could have done to prevent this outcome. This absolutely isn't a reflection of our team's work, performance, or the quality of the project itself. We hit every milestone on time, every time consistently received high praise, and easily passed all our internal gates. We are incredibly proud of the work being done and of our talented team behind it, the best we've worked with. We're currently evaluating next steps and are working quickly to support our team. Many of us have worked together for more than a decade, some over 20 years. It's an extremely difficult day, and we're heartbroken that it's come to this. If you know of any opportunities or ways you can help our incredible team, please reach out. Thank you to everyone who's offered support and kindness and encouragement during this difficult time. Brenda Romero from Romero Games.
Garbage.
So I'm really tempted to start calling Xbox the Legend Slayer because this was John Romero and his wife's team. John Romero being like a godfather of first-person shooters, Wolfenstein, Doom, like those games. And he's working on a new shooter. And when you axe that game, I mean, I just look at how they handled Bethesda, and it's a really good way of capturing it, right? When you think of the teams they got at Bethesda, from Arcane to Bethesda Game Studios, ZeniMax Online, and so on, think of the legends who defined all of those teams. You had Tango Gameworks, who had Shinji Mikami, and eventually John Johannes, who directed Hi-Fi Rush, and we know how that went. You had Harvey Smith, who's like a visionary for the immersive sim genre, who was over at Arcane. You had Matt Firer, of course, over at ZeniMax Online Studios, founded that team, made one of the most successful MMOs on the market, and the list goes on. All those people are gone now. The people who heavily defined what these studios were, the products they made, and obviously have the cachet to kind of push for things that otherwise new talent probably couldn't, because they're not as established or influential.
Like, when they bought these people, I keep saying this, did they not buy them for their talent? Like, and then people with years and years upon years of work experience creating some of the best games and most successful games that they've ever made, they just leave because they're not doing their teams justice. They're not doing their games justice. They're just not doing right by these people. Like, I don't,
And as I said on Twitter, I feel like Xbox is a Todd Howard away, and many of us have speculated that Elder Scrolls 6 would be his last game, but a Todd Howard away from losing everything that made Bethesda. That also includes Pete Hines, who worked at Bethesda for a long while and exited shortly after the acquisition by Microsoft. So when you look at this, now you lose John Romero. There are rumors, though.
Todd Howard is probably the last standing, like, major Bethesda figure that we know of. Like, I know there's the two, I believe they're French people from Arcane, who I recognize. I don't know their names, but I recognize them. But yeah, Todd Howard is the last one standing, really. And if he leaves, Bethesda is not Bethesda anymore. I'm sorry, I don't care. The quality could still be there for sure, but Bethesda without the mind, the lead brain, it won't be the same.
Unconfirmed, kind of grain of salt rumors about Kojima's deal going up in flames with Xbox. Like, you need legends, especially, it's not like, oh, we're like this third-party publisher. I guess you are now, but there was a time you were a platform holder, and this type of talent defined your studios, and it's still incredibly important, but they've lost so many key names that have defined gaming. Like, I hate to play the who's who game because I think sometimes it depletes the work coming from the, quote, lower rungs on the ladder of the entire development team, and any good leader will tell you that it's not all them, but there is a vision that it starts out with, an understanding, and you work with your team to get there. And when you get rid of people who are proven in doing that many times over, that's a failure to recognize talent. Something that Microsoft, not even just Xbox, but Microsoft as a whole, is really known for. And yeah, when you're gutting talent at your key money makers like Call of Duty, King, I don't know if they have much of an eye for talent.
I
Moving
agree.
along, though, Jez Corden reports on Twitter that State of Decay 3 is currently safe from this round of cancellations for those asking. This is because as the news is breaking, you can tell by the timestamp of the tweet, a lot of people are like, oh boy, we're identifying projects that haven't been seen for a while or that have been in development for a really long time are getting cut. What's going on with Undead Lab?
No, it's crazy that we treating this like Squid Games rounds. Like, who's still alive? Like, it's not funny. I keep laughing, but it's so absurd. Like, it's literally like Squid Games rounds where, like, we don't know who's gonna live or die because Microsoft just coming into people's rooms, like that meme with the dude with the death coming into different rooms, killing different things. Like, it's literally that. Microsoft is the death, the Reaper, coming to all these fucking studios and just killing talent, killing morale, killing creative people from doing whatever they needed to do. Like, they're not giving them enough time to do it. So like,
and yeah, kind of their demo, as we'll
I
talk about
wanted
with the Perfect Dark
Scalebound.
demo at the end of this video, were similar to me. Sort of vertical slice energy, not true gameplay, but not also completely the in-engine style, like CGI footage where it's like, yeah, this is an idea of what you're playing. Like, it's convincing enough, but it's definitely walking that gray area. The key word of what Jez said here, though, is round of cancellations, because we really don't know with Xbox. As I recounted yesterday and on Twitter, I mean, you can look at the list here in front of you of every cancellation and shutdown since just the top of 2024. It's unbelievable. So I think the scariest message sent to teams like Double Fine, Ninja Theory, Compulsion is how useful are they in this new regime at Xbox of nickel and diming. And there's no better example of the nickel and diming than what's going on with Halo,
okay,
in my
I want to know.
So let's read this article here from Engadget, and then we're going to get into a Halo insider who has proven to be correct about multiple bits of insider information. And one thing they say will probably get you a little bit scared about what Halo Studios might do with the future of the Halo franchise when it comes to key voices. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But let's start off with Engadget, who writes, even before the Xbox layoffs, there was tension at Halo Studios. At least 5 employees at Halo Studios have been fired as part of the company-wide layoffs at Microsoft on Wednesday, according to a developer with knowledge of the situation. An estimated 200 to 300 people remain at the studio. Okay, so this is what I call that nickel and diming, ramen noodles type energy that Microsoft is on right now. Like, you know, when you want to get something really bad, so you cut your budget and you go on like the ramen noodle diet, like it's $1 instant ramen, you're good to go. When you're cutting 5 people, like a 200 to 300 person team, that is some nickel and diming energy.
Yeah, what the fuck is that about?
I'm concerned. So I just got a good laugh out of that, because one of the people who was laid off was like a visual artist, a UI artist, like people that are needed, but okay, who am I to say, right? I don't work there. So continuing on, they write, the mood at the studio is tense, especially when it comes to one project that was recently in crisis, according to the developer. Sorry, I gotta stop there. I didn't actually plan to, but reading out loud and having it fully processed, I'm like, man, Halo Studios 343, like, just can't get out of their own way. Like, the fact that there was a project in crisis after Infinite, that was such a valuable learning lesson. They restructured that team, they renamed their team, like, they've done everything to just jolt some life into this team, some organization to this team. And it's not all bad news. There's some things in here we'll read that don't sound awful, but just reading that, something is in crisis. Just so, I know game development's hard, but man, so someone help them out. Like, it's
so consistent with them. I said this in the earlier part. Like, 343 Studios were consistently making games that struggled in development, after development. Like, the games that they kept making for Halo weren't received the best. I think Infinite was probably received the best. I think, at least campaign wise. And then, like, you telling me they have another game that we don't know about that was struggling? How? Why? What's going on at this studio? Who was the heads in this studio? Do we know? I don't know, but this is a consistent problem that they have not fixed yet. At all. What the fuck?
So bad over there. Anyway, they write, I don't think anybody's really happy about the quality of the product right now, they said. There's been a lot of tension and pep talks trying to rally folks to ship. The studio had recently teased that it would reveal what it's been working on at this year's Halo World Championship in October. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It'll be extremely relevant to another piece of information here.
People telling them to ship?
That project they're talking about is the Halo Combat Evolved remake. Because as I covered previously, they're continuing Halo Infinite story in a book. Yeah, like a straight up sequel to Infinite story. Like, they mentioned the ending and everything and what's happening on Zeta Halo, and they're continuing in a book. So I assume what they're doing is kind of what they're doing with Gears. Let's reload, let's remake, kind of like what they're doing with Oblivion as well. And I think that's a lot of the future of Xbox if I were to really put on my doomer cap and say, like, what I think they're going to do. I think they're just going to tap that old well, kind of just re-water those plants, the Halo, Gears, Elder Scrolls, just Fallout, just get these old entries to multi-plat everywhere, remade, and just kind of milk that dry.
Yeah, I mean,
Continue.
when they're like multi-plat now, because like everything is multi-plat now from them, it makes sense to just sell everything again. like I understand a lot of people are sick of like remakes and remasters and stuff like that. I'm not really. I don't think the games they've been doing recently have been too crazy. Besides, like The Last of Us releasing again and again and again. I love The Last of Us, but still, that game released over and over again like Skyrim. And I just don't have a problem with it. So like, yeah, Microsoft should release their games, remake their games again and again and again, get them in more people's hands. Because now more people are gonna play them. More people is obviously gonna play them. It's not stuck on that box. And if they do that whole like thing when it comes to like emulating their 360 games and older console games and putting them on PC and the handheld service they got, like that's crazy. Like, say your games again, do it. Keep your games alive. I'm not mad at it.
Continuing on, the employee I spoke with said that since 2023, there's been a general shift toward working with contracted studios rather than individual contractors in the United States and Europe to speed up Halo production. This mirrors the way other major FPS franchises like Call of Duty and Battlefield are developed. Xbox in general feels years behind the curve in game development and has led to a lot of wasted time and effort, the employee said. At the same time, multiple departing team members have spoken warmly about their time at Halo Studios and the people they worked with. This is the good news part. Like, I wanted to include this because I know it's doomer. I'm not trying to cope, not trying to like save the day here, but this is good news because Halo was completely mismanaged with Infinite. We learned how contracted talent absolutely bit that project in the ass. And the reason contracted talent is a big thing in Xbox is because it's a big thing at Microsoft. And
like the fact that Halo Infinite launched without co-op, without split screen co-op too, without a lot of things is kind of crazy. They launched on multiplayer first, I believe. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, things, and that was crazy. It was probably a good move, but I think they launched it because the campaign was not ready. Obviously, it had so many issues. It was still fun though. It's probably my third favorite Halo campaign, maybe third or fourth. We'll see, but yeah, it was still a really, really good campaign. But it was clearly rushed. If you trickle out content that was in every other version of Halo from the get-go. Like you open the case, you open the game in, you have all those features, and then they added those features Infinite so slow. But that's the game development nowadays. You release something unfinished, you patch it later, and people celebrate you for coming back and reward you for doing what you're supposed to do. I guess. I don't know. Just go early access. Like if that's the case, like these games should just go early access. Like, just claim what it is. You're not claiming it is, but that's what it is. Just call it early access. You know, that's what I think.
We see why based off Phil Spencer's layoff letter, where it's like, hey, you're fired, but also we have other open positions at Microsoft Gaming that you can apply for and you'll get priority there. Again, so that they can contract you. You're desperate for a job. You'll probably take the pay and you'll probably take less benefits so that you can figure out your situation beyond that. And they know this, but this is how they make a ton of money here. But contracting studios, like we heard about Certain Affinity working with 343, now Halo Studios. I mean, Battlefield is a great example. They have 4 full development studios working on Battlefield 6, and I'm really pulling for that game. I hope Battlefield 6 is absolutely
Battlefield 6 has to be a success.
You've got so many teams working on that. So this feels more standard. We saw before.
DICE might be in trouble. Like, I won't necessarily say get shut down, but they will be in some trouble. Like they'll probably get moved to like being a support team or something like that. I don't know. But Battlefield 6 has to be really, really good. Because the last 4, almost 5, launched horribly. Like glitchy wise, buggy wise. So this one has to be fucking at least running well. That's the bare minimum, right? Let the game run well. Like we know you're gonna come with this different topic. Back to the video.
So many teams working on that. So this feels more standard. We saw before its cancellation, Perfect Dark brought in Crystal Dynamics. They brought them in to help with that project. Co-development efforts are very common in today's industry. Obsidian Entertainment was helping with State of Decay 3 as an example, because Undead Labs was really impressed with how there was an untethered co-op element to the online play of Grounded, and they wanted that for State of Decay 3. So
yeah, like this happens all the time. Like freaking Smash Brothers is a perfect example. Like I know Bandai Namco and CyberConnect worked. I don't know if CyberConnect do it, but Bandai Namco definitely helped develop Super Smash Brothers. Like it happens a lot, like more than people probably know, like because you don't see other names like immediately in your face a lot of the time. But yeah, there's a lot of like cohesion, a lot of like grouping up, and that's how it should be. Like I don't see the problem with that at all. Like Xbox should do that a lot more too, but you know, without having to fire tons of people though.
It's a pretty common thing. It's good to see Halo catching up with the times. So that's your good news for the video. I'm gonna flip the switch on you now, because this is where
here we go.
I get a little bit worried. Microsoft is increasingly focused on AI, a shift that propelled its stock price to new highs.
Like, okay, I'm not against AI. I actually enjoy what AI could be, right? I like memes, so I love seeing the different AI memes and stuff like that. I do. I'm sorry, but I do. But when it comes to like things that people get paid for, things that can like, you know, deserve actual human elements into them, no, get them out of here. like get them out of here. Like pay the people properly. Pay someone to do it. Like I understand this technology is not going anywhere. It's only going to get more and more included in almost every aspect of our lives. But the fact that it's like affecting everything is nuts. And the fact that they're getting more money because they're using AI is nuts. Almost every studio that announced they're using AI or are developing AI skyrocketed in their stock prices. So AI is here to stay. It's just how it's implemented that really matters. That's what really matters. If you implement it properly, where you're not stealing someone's content, where you're not removing humans from a job that they've been doing for years just because it's cheaper or because, you know, you just want to reach your margins, I guess. I don't know. Like, no, like what AI can do will never equal to what a human can do. Unless it's like numbers. Literal numbers, like math. What's this math? Like everything else, not really. Like the human element when it comes to art will always be needed, will always be relevant, will never be replaced. It will never be replaced. Like I know they're trying to use AI to write scripts, and you know, there's Microsoft was talking about making AI with like game. They're trying to use AI to make entire games and stuff too. Nah, I'm not with none of that. But I do like what AI can be though. That's about it.
At Meta's LlamaCon in April, CEO Satya Nadella said that as much as 30% of the company's code is now written by AI. Activision in February admitted to using AI in Black Ops 6. It's unclear how much AI has to do with the latest round of layoffs, but use of Copilot is no longer optional within Microsoft. The developer I spoke with said, quote, "They're trying their damnedest to replace as many jobs as they can with AI agents," end quote.
At 30% already is nuts. And I didn't even know they used it for Black Ops 6. I missed that news. So like, yo, and AI hasn't even been around that long and it's already up to 30%. We're fried. We're fucking fried. Like, I'm assuming 2 years is going to be at 50%. I'm just going to assume at the rapid speed it's going. Godspeed.
So I don't need to explain to you why this sounds awful. I mean, there's even smaller teams like 11-bit who got caught using AI when it came to the altars. And to be fair to 11-bit, I do think compared to what Microsoft is doing, it's definitely a lot of bad faith anger being thrown their way. And I think what they did was forgivable given their team size. Someone like Microsoft who can afford people trying to cut like this, it is going to seep into their game development efforts. This is something I talked about in Defining Duke. Like, no doubt, this is the next step, right? We're seeing how earlier this year, right? It's been such a rapid year, you might have forgot, but earlier this year, they were showing off those AI
I was just talking about this.
tools
This is exactly what I was talking about. They were showing a gameplay generated by AI, and it's fucking insane. Like, the actual thought of an AI creating a game based off of what, I don't know. But, like, this is insane. And this is the beginning stages. Of course, it looks ass. It looks ass, of course. It got like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals fucking abilities. They skateboarding like they playing fucking Tony Hawk. They got like that steampunk Valve game characters at the top. Like, all this looks but the fact that it got to this point already shows that they are trying to find a way to force people out of their jobs, to force the human element out of gaming. And it sucks. Why they write these letters, these bullshit letters, to the people they fired, to the people who remain. Like, we respect your creativity. We respect, all this stuff. Power to the players. No, you don't, because you're doing shit like this at the same time. I get you don't want to be left behind, but guess what? By doing so, you're fucking over the people that you're saying that you care about. Obviously, you don't care that much. Obviously.
Game testing and iteration and idea generation and all that stuff. So you got to pay attention to what's happening at Microsoft, because it always bleeds into Xbox. So where this gets really interesting is, as we mentioned earlier, over on Halo Waypoint, you'll see here that the Road to Halo World Championship 2025 had a blog post, and it's there that they do mention over the past few weeks there's been a fair amount of speculation about when and where more details might emerge about the multiple projects Halo Studios is actively working on. We don't usually comment on such matters, but this time we want to enter the chat and share a little bit more perspective for Halo fans who might be on the fence about whether or not to attend this year. Last year at Halo World Championship, we premiered A New Dawn, where we talked about the switch to Unreal Engine, gave you a look behind the scenes at Project Foundry, and debuted our evolution to Halo Studios as we enter a new chapter for Halo. For us, A New Dawn was just the beginning. At this year's Halo World Championship, we look forward to continuing the conversation. Speculation is always fun, but if you want the official scoop on what Halo Studios has been working on, you don't want to miss this year's Halo World Championship. So yeah, they're announcing whatever's next for them at this World Championship. That's October this year.
Yeah, that was just them hyping it up.
First, but Rebs Gaming, who reported this a month ago. So he was right on top of it, and we've covered his work a lot on Defining Duke. He's typically on top of things for Halo. And here's what he posted on his Twitter account at one point. Here's my exclusive video report, which reveals Halo voice actors Steve Downes, who's Master Chief, and Jen Taylor, who's Cortana, haven't been contacted by Microsoft and Halo Studios to be in the new Halo games. They fear they're being replaced and are on strike against the games industry for replacing voice actors with AI.
Whoa. What the fuck is going on? Because we knew about the Halo Combat Evolved remake for a while now. Did they replace those voices? Because if they did, that's out of pocket. that is out of pocket. Like, I get it, because like Persona does it now. When they remake the games, they're replacing the whole cast with newer, younger artists, younger voice artists. Newer, younger voice actors, right? But I disagree about this. Like, I disagree about Persona 2, but this is also just like worse, because like Halo the voices in Halo, Master Chief and Cortana, are so iconic. Like, I can't even hear anybody else talking with the Master Chief's helmet on. I didn't even watch the TV show because I knew they were going to take that man's helmet off, and I was going to see just a regular dude. Like, I don't want to see that. So like, the fact that they have been contacted, and of course, yeah, they've been on strike for a while about AI. So like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad.
He reported this separately in his own video, but this is the fear, right? Like, there are a lot of voice actors and actresses on strike. These strikes have affected certain games' developments. I believe Kojima actually shared how Death Stranding 2's release timing was actually affected by certain actors and actresses that were on strike that he wanted to have in the game. It actually could have shipped much sooner. So in fairness, when there's, a strike ongoing here, this means that they might be looking elsewhere. And I will just say, if they remake Combat Evolved, like is rumored, and it's not Steve Downs and Jen Taylor, and they're very much career capable still, ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Say
it's
it.
not going to go over well, man.
No, it will not.
I can tell you right now, like, there cannot be another voice for Master Chief. And if that voice for Chief is AI generated.
Ooh.
Boy.
Boy, if Master Chief is an AI bot, you're fucked, Microsoft. You're fucked, Xbox. The amount of people who are gonna shit on everything you do from now on, even though they already do, kinda, but the amount of people who are gonna shift, like your core fan base, there you still got some ride or die fan base, like we're locked in for lifers. But if you fuck over Halo, the baby of Xbox, the OG of Xbox, the GOAT of Xbox, your time will be up. like you will have no home to go back to. Them people will not be there. Don't do it. You better call them up right fucking now. Don't do it.
A lot of people won't play that out of principle. So we'll see. Not trying to fearmonger, not trying to doom and gloom.
Nah,
but
it ain't
again, as someone who
fearmongering.
does have a
It's the
good
truth.
track record of inside information on what's happening with Halo Studios, just wanted to make sure people were aware of the trajectory Microsoft's on, the feeling inside the studio, and recent news. So you're not, if you're watching this channel, too caught off guard. Okay, last story for the video, and it's funny because technically there's still more with ZeniMax, but I want to let that story grow and see what's happening there before we fully report. Ethan Gack, who was over at Kotaku, posted that the Perfect Dark sizzle reel at last year's Xbox showcase looked awesome, but someone at the time also told me it was basically fake. Since then, a former member of the initiative commented on this story, writing, "This demo, it was actually in-engine. I was one of the 3 level designers that worked on it. It worked best if you played it the way the person playing in the video plays it, but it still worked even if you didn't hit the marks perfectly. There's some fake stuff in it, and the real gameplay system shown off worked just enough to look good in this video.
Feeling.
We were rapidly making real design decisions so as not to knowingly lie to players about what the game will be. The parkour is all real. The hacking/deception is mostly real. The combat is real, in quotes, in that someone had to do all that stuff for real in the video, but it's all set up to be played exactly that way, and didn't play well if you played it a different way. I'm seeing big controversy over this whole thing was fake, and it's annoying me, so I wanted to say something."
I mean, okay, I'll give him some grace. Like, I would say that 60% of what they showed was real, right? I'll even give you 70. But the fact that the combat is like, I mean, it's usually staged because it's like a vertical slice. But the fact that if you played it just differently, slightly, it might not work right is kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts.
I'm inclined to take the word of a developer over Kotaku.
Absolutely.
I don't know about y'all. But yeah, looking at this and hearing their description, what we saw is what many of us suspected, which is a vertical slice.
Yep.
A vertical slice is kind of that proof of concept. Like, this is what we're doing. This is our polish level.
This is what we hope to shoot for.
The rest of the game, and we're going to build the rest of the game like this. And if it's convincing enough, you get funding, you get support, you bring in more staff, and you make the rest of the game to that quality level. With
like every developer I see on Twitter or Instagram, YouTube, even, they talk about this. Like, this isn't really for us. Like, yeah, they want us to get excitement and they want us to wish list their game and stuff like that. But this is really just to get investors and people to, help them make the game. Like, you get the game out there to show them. But I just always, and I disagree. There's one developer I follow, I really respect. He talked about it and said that this is the reasons why they announce games so early. It's because they need funding, workers, everything in between. And there's so many of these that comes out, and these type of games that just get canceled even though they get announced so early. And it's, I don't know, like, it's really disheartening as a fucking person who plays games. I don't make games. I don't know shit. I don't know shit at all. But the fact that we see this time and time again, more often than not, when a game get announced super early and it comes out super late or not at all, I don't like it. I don't think it's that good for the industry as they probably think it is, at least for our our side of it, we don't really want to see it. To be honest, like we don't really want to see it unless we can play it pretty soon. Like some of the biggest games are like, and it's out now or it's out in 3 months. Like everybody is not GTA. We're not finna wait for you. Like a lot of us will forget about you and then be like, oh, that came out. That's crazy. I'll try it now, I guess. Like a lot of us are not paying attention to your game, so like announcing it way early, yeah, you're gonna get the investment. Hopefully, it comes out good, but a lot of these games get forgotten about, and that's just how it goes when you're announced super super early.
The timeline that's identified by that vertical slice. Like, okay, it took us how long to make this, polish it up, clean it all up. Okay, now that we know that, we can timeline our whole project and then go and make this thing. So we don't know how long it took to make this vertical slice. This game was in development for a while. A lot of that original staff left. They brought in Crystal Dynamics. It seemed like that renewed some life there. The game from that vertical slice did look really cool. If they could have built the rest of the game like this, I mean, it would have probably been amazing. Just the deception, the stealth elements, the graphics. I mean, it looked really good. But if it took them years to make just that window, and it's like, yeah, we'll need another 5 years to do the rest of this.
Another 5
That's where, again,
years.
it gets in that complicated area that I talked about in our last video on Defining Duke of, yeah, like you get why it gets canceled, but someone should have stepped in much earlier, recognizing the problem with this game years ago, which is
like that's my thing. My thing is this hits the nail with the hammer. It's a hammer every time. Like y'all know that stuff is fucked up. You have to know, or you're just delusional. And then you show it off. You show it off. I'm sorry for this pause, Maddie. My bad, gang. But you show it off. And like, we see something that we're interested in, and then y'all say, oh, it was in development hell, had complicated issues, so it got shut down. Bitch, how was we supposed to know that? And we don't care. You should never showed it off to us. I'm sorry. I'm more fine with seeing like unannounced games get canceled than seeing something and they think that getting people excited for it and then they're shutting that shit down. No, absolutely not. I think it's gross on both sides, but the fact that they mismanaged so poorly, like what were they hoping for? What were they hoping changed during this time period? Like what was supposed to happen? Like were more people supposed to come and work on the game? Were they supposed to just automatically get some magical stuff in the air? They breathe it in and then they fix the game and everything's fine. Like what was supposed to happen during this in-between time that this game was gonna work? Between them showing the gameplay or the vertical slice and then again canceled, like what was supposed to happen? I don't get it. And and maybe somebody else could tell me, but I just don't get what was supposed to happen in between. It's really frustrating. Like I don't know what could have changed because it was clearly in development hell. I keep saying this, but it was clearly struggling for a long period of time, and it's gonna need way more time than we knew. I think a lot of us had feelings that it wasn't ready because obviously some of it looked kind of fake in the gameplay. But yeah, like if y'all knew it might need more years, why waste so much time, so much of these people's time? So many hours, so many work hours of getting this out there, and just to shut it all down like this, you could have did this years ago, and they could have moved on to something, and it could have been less painful for everybody involved, us and them. Like, come on, man.
Which is when the original staff completely left. Like that's when the problem was there, and this will be the biggest stain on this current leadership.
When the staff left, when the staff left, that's when this game should have got shut down. I'm sorry. Like when the staff left, half of the staff, you shut that shit down.
Left. Like that's when the problem was there. And this will be the biggest stain on this current leadership core at Xbox because this was your baby. And it just reaffirms what everyone already thought of you, which is y'all don't know how to make games.
Nope.
Simply because you tried to give birth to a studio, injected with talent, and it's been a complete failure. 7 years, nothing to show for it except this vertical slice. It reminds me a lot of Prey 2. Human Head was working on Prey 2 with Bethesda. It was just such a what could have been demo for me. I love the Star Wars Bounty Hunter games. I actually have it right here next to me. I adore this game, right?
And so when Prey 2 showed up with this vertical slice, it was like an 11-minute E3 demo.
I was never excited for this game, but I knew a lot of people
I was laid
were.
up in bed just drowsy on like painkillers watching this demo, and I just always looked at it as like what could have been. Man, this game looked so good, so cool. And unfortunately it got shut down. It got canceled. Basically what's happened in Perfect Dark reminds me a lot of that game, and so just wanted to shout that one out. Get that off my chest a little bit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you today. No doubt we'll probably be back tomorrow talking more about whatever's going on with ZeniMax. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.
Shout out to Maddie. Like, this ongoing Xbox, like, debacle, it's nuts. It's really nuts. Like, a lot of this is stuff that didn't have to happen. Or they should have just done it sooner and then remanaged stuff in between, because clearly you knew these, like, Everwild was struggling for years. You knew that. You knew Perfect Dark was struggling. You knew that. Like, why even prolong it so long that they're now left with nothing and have to go find new jobs, new everything? It's gross. But shout out to Miss Money Plays. The link will be in the description if you want to watch the video yourself. And I'm out. Sad day in gaming. Peace.
Look, the show's over. Fuck it, let's call some hoes over. I leave a bitch the type it won't give her no closure. What it is, you acting like that I don't know you. You acting like that I don't know you. The show's over. Fuck it, let's call some hoes over. Leave a bitch